Super Mario Bros. Z has been talked about to hell and back. It's been talked about so frequently, and when people think of sprite animations, it's normally the first thing they think of. But the one sprite animated series that I really don't see too many people talk about is Super Mario Bros. Heroes of the Stars. For those of you who don't know, this series is a Mario sprite series made by Frederick Nielsen, aka King of Silas, aka Silas Goji 91, aka, for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to call him Fred. This series was made by Fred back in 2012. It may surprise you to know that it's not actually finished because, unfortunately, like a lot of sprite animated series that are on the internet, he's the only one doing all the animating. This is a series that combines elements of Mario, Kirby Right Back At Ya, Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, and a few other little animes sprinkled up in there. I've been wanting to do a video on this for a while, but life has just kind of made it difficult. I'm just going to go over the series a little bit and just kind of say what I like and what I don't like, and why you guys should ultimately check it out. The main thing I really love about this series is that it enlightens you about other Mario games. Like, for example, in episode 1, they talk about the Refresh Room from Partners in Time, and there's also Boshi from Super Mario RPG. He's in this too, and there's also the Star Spirits from Paper Mario, which are prevalent plot devices throughout this whole thing. The story begins, as most Mario plots do, with Bowser trying to kidnap Peach and Mario stopping him. He successfully stops him, but right after he does, aliens. This is where the Shroobs from Partners in Time come into play. The Shroobs are looking for a new planet to conquer because their old homeworld is dead and basically just desolate and not livable. This results in them taking over Bowser's castle and all of his forces, and as a result, Bowser must team up with Mario and friends to stop them. This is where the other elements from the other Mario series come into play. The only way they can really counteract Princess Shroob's forces is by collecting the 7 Star Spirits, which are scattered throughout the Mushroom Kingdom in treasure chests, because she changed all of the Star Spirits into cards. Similar to how Bowser turned all the Toads into blocks from the first Mario game. So basically, they gotta go around the Mushroom Kingdom and find these cards and try to stop Princess Shroob and the Dark Star. Now, you might be wondering, how does Kirby fit into Mario? This is how. Yes, Mario in this series rides the Warp Star, just like how Kirby does in the Kirby games. And honestly, I really think that's a cool idea. I always thought it was so cool seeing Mario on the Warp Star. And also, I really just like how it's used in fights, ultimately. Which brings me to the best thing about this entire series, the fights. Like Super Mario Bros. Z, this series has plenty of Dragon Ball Z-esque fight scenes, which are really awesome. And while they aren't as cool as the reboot version of Super Mario Bros. Z's fight scenes, they're still really cool. Also, there are lots of references to other series as well. When Mario and Luigi fight each other in episode 10, for example, there's a point in the fight that is straight up ripped from Dragon Ball Super. The Mario and Bowser vs. Goombas fight that happens in episode 6 is also a really good one as well. My favorite fight scene is easily the remastered version of Mario vs. Bowser. And I say remastered because Fred actually made 2 versions of episode 1 and 2. The choreography is fantastic, the punches are so strong that the rocks behind them break whenever they miss, and the finale where Mario gut punches Bowser so hard that the rock behind him explodes into oblivion and then Bowser just coughs up blood is so awesome, which also reminds me of another thing. There's blood in this series, so much so that it might turn some Mario fans off. But personally, I love blood and stuff because it's more realistic. You know, I never was really a fan of media where characters fight each other and never bleed. Because it's like, you know, people bleed, you know, we got blood. The lighting also is really cool too. I love the lighting. I really think Fred does a good job of making all the sprites blend in with the environments well. This is really noticeable during the sunset and night scenes especially. I just really love how the sprites look and how they blend with the environment. It looks amazing. Also, I really think Fred's music choice is really good too. All the music he chooses fit the scenes really good, and I think that they do a good job of emphasizing whatever the feeling of the scene that he was trying to convey. But I would say the best thing about this series, in my opinion, is that the Wario Bros have a whole episode dedicated to themselves. It's my favorite episode of the series, in fact. Everything you can expect from a Wario Bros episode is there. There's comedic hijinks, awesome fights, and there's even a point where Wario pulls an SMG4 and actually uses Waluigi as a rocket launcher. So, oh yeah, Fred actually showed Waluigi some love. Seriously, Nintendo hates Waluigi for some reason. They have like a huge hate boner for him, and I'm not sure why that is. Not only is he only relegated towards spin-offs, but he doesn't really have any cool forms or anything like that, and he's never been playable in any platform or nothing like that. So the fact that in this episode, Waluigi is used as a rocket launcher, he becomes Fire Waluigi and has purple fireballs. Well, he should have had purple fireballs. He becomes Fire Waluigi, and he delivers the final blow to Top Maniac. If that isn't awesome, I don't know what is. So episode 8 is easily the best episode in the series in my opinion. The eye catches they have in the episode are nice too. Like in the animes that they're based off of, Fred actually added eye catches to the episodes. These are like little pictures that happen around the middle of the episode that may talk about a character, it may just show Mario and co doing something funny or something random. It's nice, I like it quite a bit. It's almost like Fred is taking a bunch of elements from all these different pieces of media and just making this Frankenstein-esque monster kind of a series, which for the most part, I feel in concept is a good idea, but how it's executed plot-wise could be better, because one of the main cons of this series for me is the writing. That is easily its biggest flaw. For one thing, the dialogue is grammatically correct a lot of times, and sometimes it doesn't even make sense. And even the characterization at points just feels off. Like, there are times where I would hear Mario speak and I would wonder if I'm listening to Mario talk or Luffy from One Piece. Like, for example, right after Mario defeats Bowser, Mario falls to his knees and is like, "You idiot! You can never defeat me!" And he's like slams his fist into the ground. Like, you've defeated him so many times, so why are you acting all dramatic about it now? It just seems so over the top. And I know it's based off of One Piece and all that, but I still feel Fred could have handled this a little better. I feel he could have maybe made it less dramatic. He could have just maybe make Mario say like, "Bowser, when will you ever learn?" Or something like that. I don't know. I'm just thinking of some ideas off the top of my head right now, but I just feel like how it was handled was just a little too over the top. And this is also seen in episode 11 when Luigi and all of them were heading to Subcon to get the second star spirit. Wart kidnaps Daisy and also is holding the second star spirit. And once Luigi finds out about this, ooh boy, my man gets pissed. And he is immediately like determined to rescue Princess Daisy and all that. So much so to the point that when they're stopped by some goons on the way there, he just charges in and tries to fight them recklessly. Which, I will say one thing I will give credit to this series is that I really do like how they make Luigi less cowardly than in Super Mario Bros. Z, because that was one of the things I didn't like about Super Mario Bros. Z is I felt Mark made Luigi a little bit too cowardly, which in hindsight I can see where he was coming from because he was basing it off of Superstar Saga Luigi, who is very, very cowardly. But in Super Mario Bros. Heroes of the Stars, I feel it's the opposite problem. I feel Luigi's a little too confident. It's like, even if he wants to rescue Daisy, I feel he's not the type to just rush in, just recklessly. That just doesn't add up. I feel a more accurate characterization of him would be to fight them, but to be smart about it. I feel like Luigi should have used his mind a little more instead of just charging in, even if he was determined to rescue Princess Daisy. Also, why is Princess Shroob the only person who can break the seal in the Dark Star? In episode 4, when they're learning more about Princess Shroob and who she is and just the Shroobs in general, one of the characters mentions flat out that Princess Shroob is the only person who could break the seal in the Dark Star, but why is she the only one? What's stopping some other Mario villain from doing that exact same thing? Heck, why didn't Bowser try doing that at any point? Does she have some sort of alien technology that I don't know about? I feel like that could have been explained more. And also, if there was a Toad archaeologist who studied the Shroobs and knew their technology and how they operated, why hasn't the Mushroom Kingdom developed their own technology and plans in the event that the Shroobs do invade the planet? I feel that would be a good countermeasure in case that were to happen. But I think the most interesting thing about this series is the fact that it actually has a manga equivalent that you can view on DeviantArt. As of right now, episodes 12, 13, and 14 are currently the only ones that are in manga form, and as cool as it is that you actually can see more of the story beyond what's on YouTube, there are plenty of questionable moments. I think it'd be better if world-renowned YouTuber, Let's Player, Min fanboy, and just overall Smash player, workout, goddess person, SuperMarioT, please describe this for me, please.
I'm usually not keen on reading fanfictions nearly as I was back in my middle school days, over a decade ago. But Super Mario Bros. Heroes of the Stars, it did kind of take me back to those years where I closely followed the Super Mario Bros. Z series back in the day. That classic old school Flash sprite animated fan series where Sonic and Shadow the Hedgehogs team up with the Mario characters, them fighting Bowser, and they fight other Mario enemies, but Mecha Sonic's this constant big bad and all that. Heroes of the Stars pretty much does remind me a lot of what SMBZ tries to do, but it puts its own narrative twist and spin on things. It's Princess Shroob teaming up with the Dark Star from Bowser's Inside Story, and numerous enemies from the Mario RPG games more than anything, but it's also Mario and Luigi teaming up with Bowser, Yoshi, numerous other allies we've known throughout many mainline and spin-off Mario games, saving the Star Spirits, Peach, and whatnot. It's that classic late 2000s Mario fanon energy reading the comic. Plenty of cringe, especially since it goes back to 2017, 2018, onwards up to now, but plenty of fun and entertainment when you get past it. Most of the action and the fights that happen in the comic give off that energy and vibe, that Dragon Ball energy, but it's pretty much this Agent Violet character, it's pretty much this OC, and it develops this peculiar relationship with this Goomba character, one of the forms her suit can give her. Like, I try not to set my expectations too high with fanfictions. We all know they can get raunchy and downright awful. I know way more about Sonichu than I have ever wanted to in my life, but it's one of those things like with Fire Force, and how peak that is until you remember Tamaki, that while not the worst thing in the world, it's a thing that makes you go, yep, that's a fanfic, alright. It starts with the cliche anime fan service, anime boob nosebleed BS, and like by the end of, I think it was episode 13, it does just flat out try to end it with setting up those two characters. I'm sorry, but as much as I get liking your own OCs or characters, and Tony Goomba had a little character arc in that episode, which is something decent on its own, but god, that was unironically so corny, dude. It's got some weird bits to it here and there. Some cheese, some decent humor here and there, but a lot of lore setup and action that headcanons and exposits numerous characters, how they became to be in the Mario games prior to their appearance, like Midbus, for example. And the fights are just SMBZ coded the vast majority of the time, and that truly does take me back. The animated version of Heroes of the Stars, my general thoughts ring true for that too. I'm kind of a sucker for those fan animations and comics that always try to merge the Mario universe with Dragon Ball elements. I discovered SMBZ around the height of my Dragon Ball fixation, but as far as Heroes of the Stars, including the comic version, I liked it. It's enjoyable for what it is. It kind of took me back 13, 15 years ago when I was obsessed with that kind of thing. It's fun. It's not perfect. I enjoyed it for what it was, though. I liked it. Alright, this is SMT, signing off. Stay super.
Thank you very much. Absolutely beautiful performance, 10 out of 10. Overall, this series is a decent alternative to Super Mario Bros. Z. It definitely is weak in the writing department, and while the characterization may be off at points, it still is entertaining, and there still are really cool fight scenes, and seeing Mario use the Warp Stars really is awesome. If you want fan service, if you're a fan of Partners in Time, Bowser's Inside Story, Kirby Right Back at Ya, anime in general, and Super Mario Bros. Z, then you will like this series, I feel like, overall. So definitely check it out. I'm gonna give this a solid 4 on the what scale. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day. Peace and blessings. Bye. Godzilla vs. Koopzilla was one of my favorite sprite animated movies growing up. Sure, some of the comments I may have left about it may have some people think otherwise, but I really did actually enjoy it. I remember being a little kid, being 13 years old, and just like being so hyped for September 12th because that was the day it was going to be released. In case you don't know, for a little context, Godzilla vs. Koopzilla is a sprite animated movie that was made in 2014 by Swedish animator Fredrik Nilsson. Basically, this movie is a fusion of all the Godzilla movies and the Super Mario Bros. Super Show episode, Koopzilla, where Bowser eats some super sushi which causes him to get really big. The movie opens with Godzilla rising from the ocean and basically terrorizing a town. Some soldiers and some tanks try to do some damage to him, but of course it is all in vain as it does absolutely nothing to him, and everyone dies. The end. We then get this really cool opening sequence that shows Bowser and Godzilla fighting each other and just an overall preview of what's to come. And honestly, I think this is really well done because I love everything from the music choice to the colors to how Bowser jumps from his airship and causes a giant explosion. And that's another thing too. You're gonna notice that there are a lot of explosions in this film naturally because, you know, of what it is, but I can't help but be reminded of Michael Bay movies whenever I watch it because I don't know, it gives me Michael Bay vibes, I guess. After the really cool credit sequence, we were greeted to Bowser's castle. He is inside talking to Jeff and Hal. He tells them to spy on Peach and to basically see what she's up to. And if you're wondering, yes, this does have voice acting in it. Most of the characters are voiced by Frederick himself, and
he can help you to get closer to the promised and the princess. Understood?
I never was really the biggest fan of the voice acting. I think his Bowser voice is decent, but Hal and Jeff just sound too...
So how are we supposed to complete this mission? So far we screwed up every mission Bowser gave us in one way or another.
Don't worry, I'm sure we'll be fine.
They sound too Swedish, if that makes sense. And I don't mean this in an offensive way, but like, I think it would have been better to just maybe have some other people voice them. And this problem also kind of occurs with Luigi too.
Mario! Can't you buy a long clock?
We then see Mario at his house where he tells Luigi that they should visit Professor Egad in the Mushroom City because he made a secret weapon that can stop Bowser. Luigi doesn't want to go at first, but Mario convinces him to do some bribing. They go to Peach's castle and tell Peach about the same thing, and she decides to go along as well.
We're not gonna have breakfast this morning? Hello?
Bro, what do you mean? You're the one who rushed out of the house dragging Mario along with you. He didn't have time to make breakfast even if he wanted to. Hal, Jeff, and Steve overhear the conversation. They report back to Bowser, and Bowser, being the hothead he is, gets furious when he finds out about this and tells them to go and make sure that they put a stop to it. Cut to the Mushroom City. While looking for Egad, Peach explains to Mario, Luigi, Blue Toad, and Yoshi, yes, they joined along too, the secret weapon in detail that Professor Egad made. This weapon? The Super Sushi, a food-based weapon that can cause you to grow to a giant size. Godzilla shows up and all hell breaks loose. Amidst the chaos, Princess Peach explains that she actually knows about Godzilla, and they realize that the only way they can defeat Godzilla is by using the Super Sushi. They go to Egad's lab where he reveals how Godzilla got there and the fact that the Super Sushi that he had previously made is unfortunately crushed and is no longer usable. So he'll have to make some more. I will say big props to Egad for not only surviving a fall from what I would imagine is probably, 400 feet? 500 feet high? And also rebuilding his whole lab within the span of, I assume, maybe an hour or so. Big props to you, man. You're the reason why the Luigi Mansion games are so good. Well, that and gameplay. They also play a quick recording excerpt of Robert Oppenheimer, the creator of the atomic bomb. And I'm only mentioning this because, of course, in the excerpt he mentions the whole "I have become death, destroyer of worlds" line. I'm just mentioning that because I always thought that line was funny. That has nothing to do with the review, but I just always thought that line was just kind of hilarious. And like last time, Hal, Jeff, and Steve overhear the whole entire conversation. They report back to Bowser and let him know everything, and Bowser gets furious because he sees Godzilla as a worthy opponent and as a challenge. Basically, it's this meme right here. Back in the Mushroom City, Mario and Luigi lure Godzilla into a trap, but unfortunately it fails. And just when it looks like things are getting bleak, Bowser shows up with his airships, and they don't really do too much damage to Godzilla, of course, because of how big he is, but they do fare better than the jets and the tanks that were trying to kill him earlier. They even get Lakitu to fly up in there, and
How do you like this? Was there enough for you?
yeah, it doesn't work. Godzilla then takes care of the remaining airships with his atomic breath. Rip to all of the pilots and people who piloted those airships. In fact, now I think about it, I am just now realizing, I've always wondered, who in the world drives these things? This leaves Bowser to his own devices, which leads to arguably one of the best moments in the film, in my opinion, where Bowser just one punches Godzilla into a building. At his base form, keep in mind. Honestly, that is really, really cool. Honestly, it gives the same energy as Shadow kicking Silver in the back of the head in Sonic 06. The resulting destruction of the airships also forces Hal, Jeff, and Steve to meet up with the rest of the cast. They realize that the only way they're going to be able to beat Godzilla is if Bowser eats Super Sushi. They go back to Egad's lab where he makes a new batch. Oh my gosh, what did you do to Kirby? He eats it and becomes Koopzilla! Really, they should have eaten the sushi outside though, because like last time, Egad's lab gets destroyed as a result of Bowser becoming too big. There's some Shadow the Hedgehog level dialogue right here. We now finally get to the moment everyone's been waiting for. Godzilla versus Koopzilla. And let me tell you, this fight does not disappoint. Some of the best things about this movie are the action sequences, and this is a perfect example. Buildings are thrown, punches are exchanged, and it even starts raining. Every single scene, every single fighting scene out there is always enhanced by rain. Heck, scenes in general are enhanced by rain, but especially fight ones, so kudos to you, Frederick. Thank you for doing that. We go back to Mario and the rest of the gang who are in Egad's lab, which he somehow, once again, managed to repair in record time as they analyze the fight between Bowser and Godzilla. Excuse me, I mean Koopzilla and Godzilla. I'm not going to disrespect a legend. You cool. Pizza signs are thrown. Yes, there's a Mario pizza sign that gets thrown at Godzilla. How he owns a pizzeria, I have no idea. There's even a moment where Bowser's fire breath clashes with Godzilla's atomic breath, and it is epic. After a brief exchange, they both transform. Bowser transforms into Giga Bowser, and Godzilla transforms into Flaming Godzilla. But the tables turn as Godzilla suddenly becomes super OP and nearly obliterates Bowser. And right as Godzilla's about to kill everybody, in a last-ditch effort, Koopzilla is able to kill Godzilla with his fire breath. So Godzilla got there apparently through a portal that was found in the ocean, which was made by Egad's Portalgeist. They used the Portalgeist to return Godzilla back to where he belongs, Bowser returns to his normal size, and everything is good. There is a cliffhanger to this, but I don't know if it's ever going to get a sequel. That was Godzilla vs. Koopzilla. Overall, it's a solid movie. I liked it when I saw it back when I was 13, and I still feel the same way at 23. I will admit, 13-year-old me was definitely way more nitpicky than current me, but I still overall enjoy it. Wario, Waluigi even appear in this as cameos, and the bits they appear in are really funny. The only major gripe I have with it at this point really is just the writing. The writing is okay, but it could have been better. And what I mean by that is that the writing definitely encapsulates the characters' personalities decently well, but there are times where the subtitles don't always match what the character is saying.
Now we got Godzilla right where I want him.
Fredrik Nielsen, if you didn't know, is definitely a Swedish guy and English isn't his first language, and there were times in the past where I even helped him with some of his DeviantArt posts by like saying, oh hey, you actually should say it this way. I can kind of understand why some of these mistakes will be made, but I still feel it would have been cool if maybe they got some of the other writers on this to maybe proofread it a little more. And also, the line after Bowser defeats Godzilla where he calls him Gojira kind of confused me a little bit because that's the Japanese way of saying his name, so I'm not sure why that was added. But really that's it. I mean, yeah, I love this film. The music selection is also great. I think Fredrik has a really good ear for music. I think he does a really good job always choosing the right appropriate track for whatever situation. So yeah, I'd recommend it if you're a fan of Godzilla and Mario to definitely check this version out. I know he made a new version of it, which I haven't seen yet, and I'll probably see that and do a video. I'll see that at some point and do a video on it if this video gets enough attention. And yeah, actually, I'm gonna give this a solid 2.5 on the what scale. Closer to a 3 than a 2, but overall still really, really good and really amazing. We recommend checking it out. Peace and blessings. Bye. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to my room. I know it's been a while since I've done a recording in here, mostly because, you know, I've been doing some stuff, doing some things these last 5 years, so it's been a while since I've been able to record a video up in here, but regardless, I'm glad to be back again. There are many things in life that you should never be. Broke, unhealthy, a rapist, a masochist, a whole bunch of other things I can't even think of right now because it's early in the morning and I'm still waking up. But the point is though, is that there are a lot of stuff you just should not be. And one of those things is Tammy Newborn. Yeah, that's right, you heard me right, Tammy Newborn. Tammy Newborn, for those of you who don't know, is an internet troll that is known for worshiping 4 kids like they're the second coming of Christ. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. Like, this man, for like the last 15 years or so, give or take, has been actively on these 2 videos right here, one of which no longer has comments active on it, probably because of him, and the other one, it's still active, but still, I can guarantee you that out of all the 708,000 views that are on this video right here, that probably 700,000 of them came from this individual because that's all he does. I very much agree with what this video is saying and I approve this message. For Kids ruined my childhood and I have trauma because of its real. Oh, Baba, you based your whole childhood on 4Kids anime dub content. You really had little of a life worth even caring about. Get outside and live a lot more, or better yet, it's too late for you. Eat some eggs and smell. Their dubs were still gracious and enjoyable, and you were too ditzy to look between the lines to see this charm like I have. Being a lover. A 4Kids lover. Stick it. For those of you who don't know, 4Kids was basically a company that was responsible for dubbing anime and localizing it for American audiences, basically. They had their own shows also, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is fire, by the way. I recommend checking it out if you haven't already. One of the best things they've produced, actually, is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. But point is, though, that they were known for localizing anime, and unfortunately, back when they started localizing anime, the world was a different place, the towers were still up, COVID hadn't happened, obviously. Phones didn't exist. The point is, the world was just different. The world was a different place back in the day. And as a result, the localizing laws were also different. So 4Kids kind of shot themselves in the foot by getting a whole lot of anime that was very, very violent and not really for kids necessarily. As a result, 4Kids kind of gained a reputation for just being an overall company that isn't to be trusted with dubbing and localization, and as a result, they don't really get the best press for it, you know? They didn't always get the best press for it, I should say, because they have since filed for bankruptcy and are no longer around. But that doesn't stop our little pal Tammy over here. No, it does not. This man is unhinged. All right, this guy left a comment that just says was. Makes sense. I'm guessing he's referring to the fact that 4Kids is now dead and is no longer a thing. That's why he's saying was for idiots. It never was. So don't be clever there with that wording to show any agreeing with this title because 4Kids is not around anymore. 4Kids was never for idiots in the literal sense. And Flavi's just like, okay. And then Tammy, aka Pumpkin Cake 50, as he's going by in this moment, now stick that thumb emoji in your eye and your nose until you lose all sense of life for being so stubborn and ridiculous about all of this. For the last 11 years, every single day, anytime somebody comments, and it could be literally the most recent comment, it can be like a month ago, you will go and scroll through the comments, you will see him chug 4Kids like they are like just this godsend. And of course, 4Kids totally screwed up the Sonic Adventure 2 arc of Sonic X by changing Maria Robotnik's fate to Gun kidnapping her instead of killing her. Oh, so you would have liked to see that good character die. Some monster you are. Probably because in the game, that's how it happened. She did die in the game. So, God forbid somebody wants the cartoon to stay accurate to the game. The dub had some passion saving her to see another day, idiot. How about you take it for what it's worth and let the woman have some more life in another version of the show? She ought to come out of the dub and take yours for being ungrateful. And the sad thing is that he's really proud of this. In fact, let me just read you some of the stuff that he said to give you more of an idea on how unhinged he can be. Man, whatever happened to this channel? They died, as they should have, for making rubbish videos like this. I took the liberty of taking 10 years trolling and thrashing 4Kids hater on, mostly under the name Tammy Newborn. 4Kids should not have and could and should have remained reigning, but they still live on in some form through Konami at the very least. Ha 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 ha! You haters thought you could take them down, but nada! I should mention that I actually even tried reasoning with him a few years back also. Basically, I was just telling him that I know you like 4Kids as a company and that's cool, but you know, they were not perfect. They had flaws. They had positives, but also they had negatives. And I literally asked him, like, what makes you constantly hate on people who don't share the same opinion as you? Like, and of course, Tammy, being the way he is, left me this gem right here. Dude, shut the hell up and get out of my yard, please. Nowhere have I ever stated 4Kids was perfect and did nothing wrong. I pointed out their flaws, but even they can take in with their better respect and reason than the haters are giving to them. I called them out on their dubs not being completed and edits that are goofy, but a lot of these were out of their control and they still had good intentions. Frankly, they're not major enough to get me to downright hate them, like they still didn't have their accomplishments and success. The bottom line is, people are so focused on the bad and misunderstand it or take it to extreme measures. They forget about what made 4Kids good to begin with, and that is what I'm trying to reach people. I am I am uprising the positives and even finding some silver lining with the negatives. So these so-called issues these haters have aren't so bad as they lead themselves to believe. How dare you misunderstand my fight here? You obviously don't get it and need to get back the fuck down and die. RemoteLogic, you want to call yourself? Ha! I should break you so you become RemoteLogic. That's a much better name for your candy tasteless ass. Given that Netflix managed to do One Piece right, it's further proof that 4Kids had no excuses to butcher One Piece. Boy, sit the hell down and eat slurm. I don't even know what is slurm. They are doing a live action adaptation that is not the same as dubbing in anime, and they're even cutting out things far more drastic than what the dub did. So how are they really doing it better? Oh yeah, they're not! But this is you being delusional, as always, comparing apples to oranges. The live action looks like a joke and does not work with the style of anime at all. Some shows just does not warrant the live action treatment, but not shocked you of all things, yes, things, would enjoy such rubbish. Of course, when I did this was like, I think 5 or 6 years ago when I left him this initially. Let's see how he is now. I hit him up again 2 months ago, and it was still kind of the same thing. Tammy, I don't know if you remember me, but I used to be called Mario Addict C. I was in high school then, now I'm in college. What has changed in your life? Not much of a damn thing. I volunteer more at needy places, I guess. I am doing more writing projects. Why not focus more on those writing projects unless on staying a dubbing company that no longer exists? Because a company's work status does not mean a damn thing when their legacy is still being tarnished and misunderstood, and thus need a savior like me to come to their aid. Deal with it. You call yourself RemoteLogic, so be logical about this for once. Focusing more on something that benefits you, like writing projects, instead of staying in a company that is not only out of business but doesn't even know you exist, seems pretty logical to me, in my opinion. Maybe you should take my advice. He clearly did not take my advice. The point is, you should just really try to do everything in your power to avoid becoming like this person, because it serves nobody, and honestly, he's just making a fool of himself, and he's probably just doing this for attention. It's not normal to go through and praise a company that's been dead for like nearly a decade, and who doesn't even know that you exist, and defend them as if that's gonna do anything. Like, I don't really think Alfred Kahn, if that's his name, really cares that there is this man who is, you know, defending projects that he did like 10, 15 years ago. I don't think he really cares about that. So, moral of the story is, whatever you become in life, just remember, at least you are not Tammy Newborn. I know that helps me sleep better at night. I should mention also that Tammy Newborn's real name is actually Devontae Huntley, and he's actually gotten arrested for stalking people and for just doing overall weird stuff in real life. So this goes to show you, I don't know the validity of these statements, but I just thought I'd mention that. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Let me know if you've heard of Tammy Newborn in the comments below. Peace and blessings. Bye. Today we are talking about the last phenomenal 3D Sonic game. Now, what is the last phenomenal 3D Sonic game? 06, obviously. Sonic Unleashed was the last phenomenal 3D Sonic game. Out of all the 3D Sonic games that have come out within the past decade, I would say none of them still hold a candle to Sonic Unleashed. It's so good that scientists have been wondering for years what secret ingredient this game contains that makes it so good. Well, after my years and years of research, I've finally come to a conclusion as to what makes this game so dang good despite what some wannabe critics may say. So sit back, relax, grab your Sonic body pillow, and let Dr. Jah-sun enlighten you as to why this game blows all the other ones out of the water. Sonic Unleashed's story is everything a Sonic story should be. Good characters, great writing, a perfect mix of humor and seriousness. The story starts with Sonic fighting Eggman as usual, with Sonic gaining the upper hand by transforming into Super Sonic and cornering him. But he celebrates too soon, as Eggman then traps Sonic and rips the Chaos Emeralds right out of him, and with the help of his giant metallic space stick, shoots a big laser and breaks the planet apart, which awakens the behemoth known as Dargaia. Dargaia then breaks the apart because he was awakened too early, as energy spreads all over the world, as well as into Sonic, which causes him to turn into this. Sonic then gets flung back to Earth and dies. Sonic then gets flown back to Earth and meets his character named Chip, an amnesiac chihuahua looking thing who loves ice cream, is goofy, and is quite possibly one of my most favorite Sonic characters out there. Sonic agrees to help him find his memory, and they set off to fix the planet. After rescuing Tails from some Gaia monsters, he tells them that he knows a guy who can fix the planet. Cue Professor Pickle, a cucumber sandwich loving professor who loves cucumber sandwiches way more than I feel he should. He then tells them in order to fix the planet, they must go and place the Chaos Emeralds in the 7 Gaia temples located around the world. After receiving the news, they then set out to find the 7 Gaia temples. At the 6th Gaia temple, Chip regains his memory and realizes he is actually like Gaia, Dark Gaia's opposite. On their way back to the last temple, Sonic and Chip discovered that through the power of Dark Gaia, Eggman was able to finally build Eggman Land, which probably explains why it's one hell of a level, but I'll get to that later. They restore the Chaos Emerald and think they've won, but Eggman then ambushes them with his Egg Dragoon and sends them to the center of the Earth. One cool boss fight later, and Eggman loses as usual and is tossed away by Dark Gaia to no one's surprise. Dark Gaia then strips Sonic of his Werehog form and becomes semi-perfect Dark Gaia. Chip combats this by transforming into a bootleg version of the Power Rangers robot, aka the Gaia Colossus. After weakening Dark Gaia a bit, he then decides to transform into his perfect form. Sonic then transforms into Super Sonic and with Chip's help, kills Dark Gaia and saves the planet from mass destruction. Chip then says a heartwarming goodbye to Sonic and throws him back to the surface while he remains behind. Sonic lands in Windmill Isle where he finds Chip's necklace and wears it as a souvenir. The game ends on a positive note with Sonic running along Tails in his tornado as the credits roll. This game's plot is not only good by Sonic standards, but it's just a good story overall. The pacing is just right, the character interactions are solid, and like I said before, it has a perfect mix of comedy and seriousness. This was the pre-Baldy McNosehair era of Sonic, and in my opinion, this was the last Sonic game where Sonic really acted like Sonic. He was still smug, but he could still act serious when he needed to. He isn't cracking jokes every 5 seconds like he's in some bad Nickelodeon sitcom, he's acting like Sonic, which I appreciate greatly. I also love Sonic and Chip's friendship and how it develops throughout the game. Heck, the game even gives you ways to bond with Chip by letting you feed him stuff. Sonic Unleashed's gameplay is divided into 2 segments. Daytime segments where you run super duper fast, and nighttime segments where you go not as fast. Unleashed was the first 3D Sonic game to utilize the boost formula from Sonic Rush, which is one of the things that makes Unleashed's daytime stages so fun. All you have to do is press the X button and you'll get this gigantic burst of speed that lets you plow through robots and other obstacles in your way. The levels themselves are amazing too. Rather than them only being 1 to 2 minutes long in length and being comprised of mostly 2D sections like in a lot of Sonic games in 2010s, Unleashed's levels are about 3 to 5 minutes on average and are each moderately challenging. A good amount of them are also pretty open as well. Now let's get to the Werehog, the other half of Unleashed that most people loathe and wish was non-existent. I'm gonna be frank with you guys, I love the Werehog. It's a very competent beat 'em up game and some of the moves you can pull off are freaking sick. Especially once you upgrade all the stats using the EXP you get from enemies, it makes it even better. You can really make Sonic a whole powerhouse if you upgrade his stats just right. The Werehog levels are definitely longer than Sonic's levels, but if you know what you're doing, you can easily breeze through them in under 12 minutes or sometimes even less. The Werehog levels also have amazing music that sound very in tune to the location you're in. The only problem is that you can only hear it in bits and pieces because 90% of the time, you're hearing the battle theme itself is good, but it plays so often that it makes a good piece of music annoying just after the first level. I'd say you're likely to hear this theme at least 7 times during an average Werehog level minimum, and that's honestly being generous. Possibly more if you're playing through a nighttime stage with a lot of combat like Arid Sands. This game also introduces Sun and Moon medals, which are medals that you find in the hub worlds and normal levels. The only thing is that they're the key to reaching more levels, so if you think you can just go through the game and not collect any medals at all, you're out of luck. Most people hate this system, but I'm personally indifferent about it. If you do enough scouting in the Werehog levels and the hub worlds, you should have way more than enough to access the levels, so yeah. They are in the daytime stages too, but again, most people are going to be speeding past them and aren't going to be looking for them, so yeah, just do them in the Werehog levels, as simple as that. Whenever someone mentions Eggman Land, most people think about this.
This is Eggman Land, the final level of the game, and it is awful. Shortcut, you can skip a good part of the... Oh, Jesus. I didn't even mean to do... So yeah, seriously, do we have anybody who wants to defend this level? Oh,
I, on the other hand, view it as the best final level in Sonic history. Despite it being long and challenging, it really makes sure to test your abilities while at the same time being lenient on you by giving you a lot of extra lives. It's combined into daytime sections and nighttime sections, each with their own obstacles. For the daytime segments, it's dealing with the 3-second QuickTime events, the crazy roller coaster segment with super slippery controls, and dealing with the large abundance of laser gates and Eggman walls that can push you off the stage, instantly killing you. For the nighttime segments, it's dealing with really strong enemies, the complex platforming sections, and trying to deal with the fact that the Werehog doesn't have a drop shadow due to the lighting. Eggman Land is a great final level, with the perfect difficulty considering it is Eggman Land after all. I mean, I don't know why people are so surprised. It's Eggman Land. It's not supposed to be easy. And if you're good enough, you can complete the level without dying and get an S rank. I've done it multiple times, it's definitely possible. We have yet to get another Sonic level that is on Eggman Land's level of difficult. Sonic Colors had Terminal Velocity, which is just Sonic running and quick-stepping. Sonic Generations had Planet Wisp, which was more frustrating purely because of how boring of a level it was rather than it being difficult. Sonic Lost World had a decent semi-final level with Insta-Kill Bomb minecarts, but it was still no Eggman Land. And Sonic Force's final level was not only unbearably easy, but pretty forgettable as well. Sonic Unleashed has possibly some of the best DLC a Sonic game has to offer. While they may only give you new levels to play through, there are so many of them, and they are each still so fun to play. Heck, some of the DLC Werehog levels are actually extensions of the regular night acts in the game. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, there are some levels that have an area that's sealed off that was originally going to be a part of that said level, but due to the developers not wanting the levels to go on for too long, removed them from the final game. You actually can see these areas in the trailers for the game as well. Sonic Generations only got this underwhelming casino pinball stage, and Sonic Lost World's DLC is not too bad, but I find myself coming back and playing Unleashed stages more often for the fact because I simply love Unleashed gameplay a lot more. Force's DLC was honestly the closest to Unleashed's in my opinion. Episode Shadow was decent DLC, the only problem is that you could be in less than an hour because there are only 3 levels that use the same level layouts with only minor changes. Sonic Unleashed's promotion for this game was phenomenal as well. Anyone remember the teaser trailer for the game where Sonic is just tossing up a ring and then he changes into the Werehog and smashes it into the wall? That, in my opinion, is how you do a teaser trailer. It leaves you asking yourself, what the heck did I just see? And who could forget all of the short clips that show Sonic and Chip doing all sorts of crazy things? My personal favorite is the Kung Fu Panda-esque scene where Sonic and Chip are in Chunan and they fight over a dumpling. Then there's the Night of the Werehog short movie where Sonic and Chip explore a haunted mansion and encounter ghosts that actually appear in 2 of the game's missions. Well, the male ghosts do anyway. The female one isn't anywhere to be seen in the game. So yeah, quite a lot went into the marketing for this game. The only notable teaser trailer I can think of that was close to Unleashed's level was Sonic Generations teaser trailer where it shows Sonic running through a white-green hill zone and then he jumps and Classic Sonic appears, showing the game's new gimmick of having 2 Sonics. Alright, I've saved the best for last. The music. Sonic games post-2010 still have solid soundtracks, but none of them beat Unleashed in my opinion. You have calm, fast-paced violin music from Windmill Isle Day, to smooth jazz from Skyscraper Scamper, plus the exotic African instruments that play in Savannah Citadel day and night. And the sexy saxophone that plays in the Shamar hub world at night is just flat out orgasmic. The final boss theme that plays when you're fighting Perfect Dark Gaia is also an amazing orchestral version of Endless Possibility, the main theme for the game. So yeah, those are the reasons why Unleashed, in my opinion, was the last phenomenal 3D Sonic game. Beautiful visuals, good writing, very unique locations, no nostalgia baiting. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with me or do you disagree? Peace and blessings. Bye. $623,000 subscribers, 31,843 videos, 1,253,343,893 views. What kind of colossal channel could possibly boaster such amazing numbers? This channel called Silva Gunner, or excuse me, I actually mean Silva Gunner, as that L is actually a capitalized I. For those of you who don't know, Silva Gunner is a channel on YouTube that is known for uploading high quality rips of video game music. Now, I know you may be thinking, okay, well, what is a high quality rip? I'm glad you asked.
Here we go. Look, I was going to go easy on you, not to hurt your feelings, but I'm only going to get this one chance. Something's wrong, I can feel it. It's just a feeling I've got. Like something's about to happen, but I don't know what. If it means what I think it means, we're in trouble. Big trouble. When it is bananas, as you say, I'm not taking any chances.
In case you're wondering, yes, that is Rap God rewritten and readjusted and sentence mixed to sound like the DK rap. It is one of the most amazing things on the planet and on YouTube. Do not at me. But hey, let's not stop there. Here's another example. Carnival Night from Sonic 3. Let's see what it sounds like normally. Now let's hear the Siva Gunner rendition. One thing that also makes this channel so unique is the fact that it actually has its own lore. So if you go back in time and see how the channel looked back in 2016, 2017, 2018, you'll see that the banners sometimes change. Sometimes the profile picture will change as well to reflect that, to kind of show who is running the channel. Like for example, there was a point in time when Chad Warden actually unofficially took over the channel, and that was a whole interesting thing. There was a whole bunch of music and video game rips that were uploaded that had like Chad Warden memes in it. Siva Gunner is a parody game channel, so basically they upload video game music, but it's not actually the video game music that you would expect. You may want to listen to the Mario theme just because it's a classic tune that's easy to hum to and you just love it for nostalgia's sake. You go to Siva Gunner, you click on one of the videos, and instead of getting the traditional, you get this. It's just so funny, like clicking on like Green Hill Zone, you expect to hear one thing and then it's like something else because you don't know what to expect. You know when you listen to Siva Gunner, it's not going to be the regular like track. That defeats the purpose. So the fact that they're able to combine memes in this, the fact that they're able to combine like just other references of internet pop culture, some of which I've never even heard of, it's really cool. And also I love Siva Gunner because it's a good way to get introduced to other types of music as well. Like sure, you can get this on other video game channels as well, but like on Siva Gunner you are able to listen to a high quality rip and hear that it's not what you expected, and then you can look in the comments and see, well, hey, well, what is this? And you have to basically look and see, and somewhere in the comments it'll tell you, oh, hey, this is actually the Simpsons theme. It's not actually Bowser's theme, you know, so that's just a good example. I recommend checking it out. If you haven't checked it out already, definitely go and check it out. It's really, really funny and really, really just cool. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below about it. Peace and blessings. Bye. So I've been a gamer for a while now. In my time of gaming, I have played and have felt many controllers. And CBR made a whole article on weird video game controllers. So let's just take a quick look at some of these and just see how they rank them. So number 10 is the Sega Saturn 3D control pad, which they say looks like a spaceship, but in my opinion looks more like something you cook waffles in. You see, you have the part where you could put the waffles in, and yeah, you could put the dough in here. Apparently, according to the article, the analog stick was something that leaves a lot to be desired, and I can kind of see that. I mean, it's a little small and could be bigger. Next, they mentioned the Nintendo Wii, which, okay, I think Nintendo Wii is a weird controller, sure, but it's weird in a good way. It's innovative, you know. Up until this point, pretty much every video game controller was just a controller, you know. It was like a small little thing that had buttons on it, you know, maybe a D-pad and or a joystick and some buttons on the right, and that was it. But the Nintendo Wii is weird, but in like a good way. Like for the first time ever, you had a controller that was like a remote. It was like a TV remote instead of it being a video game controller. And on top of that, it introduced motion controls to the world. They actually happened to mention the Dreamcast on here as well. Apparently it had a detachable memory card and it connected to its controller. It wasn't utilized very often, but apparently it was still something that really is kind of an interesting concept. The fact that this controller had a portable screen inside of it that you could just take out and put back in at any given moment is actually a pretty cool idea. I kind of wish that maybe they had done more with that. This is the Amiga CD32, which I have never heard until now. It looks like something you'd get from Toys R Us. We couldn't have a video about weird video game controllers without mentioning the N64. I've used it a little bit. I used to play Smash on it when I was younger at my cousin's house, and it's kind of hard to know where to put your hands. And again, you know, since you're mostly putting your hands on the middle and right sides, that pretty much leaves the left side completely unused. So I can kind of see why Nintendo never went with this design ever again in the future. The Atari Jaguar. CBR is saying that it looks more like an answering machine than a video game controller, and I wholeheartedly agree with that completely. The NES Power Glove. Honestly, this just seems really cool. I mean, yes, it's it's not traditional, but like it's kind of like the Wii Remote. It's a good kind of weird. I'd love to use this. It looks really cool. But apparently, according to the article, it is very awkward to use. Next is the Philips CDI touchpad controller, which is really, honestly, just everything on it's gray, just different shades of gray. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Philips honestly it feels like a bootleg of a Super Nintendo controller, honestly. That's just what it seems like. The Virtual Boy. I have heard many stories about this one. Apparently, it was supposed to let the player control elements 3D environments, but it doesn't work the same with D-pads as it does with analog sticks. Yeah, I don't even know what to really say about this one. Okay, we've arrived at number 1. The Intel Wireless Series Gamepad Controller. Looks like a neck pillow. It really does, actually. It looks like something I'd get at the airport on my flight to like London or something. Hey, the good news is that, as they say, I mean, if you don't have any room in your bag, you can just wrap it around your neck. Video game controllers and their accessibility is something that's really important because as gamers, we want to be able to be comfortable while we game. There's a reason why many Smash players still use a game controller to play Smash as opposed to, you know, a Switch controller or just any other controller. Because I will say this, playing Smash with a GameCube controller, nothing else compares. And this is coming from somebody who for the longest time used a Wii Remote to play Smash. Ultimately, moral of the story is, if you're a gaming company, please just try to make controllers that are accessible. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Have you heard of any of these? If so, let me know what you think of them. Peace and blessings. Bye. The new voice actors of Toad and Peach, Courtney Lynn and Paul Castro Jr., have not only revealed themselves to be the new voice actors of the characters, but they also paid respects to Samantha Kelly, the previous voice actress who voiced both of them. According to this article by IGN, Castro wrote, "I can finally share who I voice in Mario Kart World. Toads, plural. Male Toad do hear throughout your travels in Mario Kart World are voiced by me. Been playing on my trip and it's so much darn fun. Can't thank Nintendo enough for letting me live out this dream." And then Courtney mentioned, "I can finally say I'm the voice of Princess Peach and Baby Peach in Mario Kart World. Eternally grateful for Nintendo for trusting me to help carry the legacy of this icon. These characters are so much bigger than ourselves. I'm so honored and honestly can still hardly believe it. I have so much respect for all the Peaches in the game that came before me, especially the ones I grew up with. I will do my best with every opportunity I'm given it, and I hope you all have been enjoying the game. Wahoo! Sweet! I still want to play the game. I want to play the game. It looks so fun. It looks so fun." What's also interesting too is that Peach and Toad aren't the only characters whose voice actors have been replaced, as Takashi Nagasako, who originally voiced Donkey Kong for 21 years, was apparently replaced by Koji Takeda, who actually voiced Donkey Kong in the Japanese dub of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So the fact that a lot of voice actors have been getting replaced these past few years is very interesting. Who could forget Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi being replaced by, I forget the actor's name. I know his name is Kevin. It's Kevin something. I'll put his name right here. So yeah, so that's very interesting. Let me know what you guys think about this news. Peace and blessings. Bye.